Yo, everybody. It's your boy Ken Dog here today. First off, I want to give a big Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone, had a good 2025 and then, they have a great and would jump into an even better 2026. Hopefully your New Year's resolutions that you set will come true or you hold up to them. But you know what's great about New Year? Playoff time. It's football playoffs. That's the best time of the year. Um, and in our league here, we've reached the last week of our fantasy championship here between BMAC and myself. So this is it. Last week of the NFL season. Some pretty crazy, like, games going on. We have a couple divisional matchups. The 49ers and Seahawks is for the NFC West. We have Ravens and Steelers for the AFC North. We have, if the Jaguars win, they'll clinch the NFC, no, AFC South, and then we have Buccaneers versus Panthers for the NFC South. If the Patriots win, they will they'll officially they'll actually no they clinched the AFC East already. Yes, so they clinched the AFC East. But if the Patriots win and the Broncos lose, Patriots will clinch the number one seed in the AFC. And then over in the NFC first seed, if the 49ers beat the Seahawks, yep, that's the NFC West, and also the number one seed. So crazy Week 18 implications. I think this is probably the most I've seen in a while. That only a couple, there's still divisions that need to be clinched, like multiple divisions. So pretty crazy, wild stuff. And, obviously that has a big effect for fantasy because, everyone's always controversial of the Week 18 fantasy championship because, a lot of teams will rest their starters for the playoffs. So it's like if those are the guys you relied upon, So it is what it is. Some people don't like it. Some people, I just think it shows it's a true test of, picking up the right guys at the right time, and making sure that you're starting the guys that that are in must-win situations, because they're going to ball out. So let's jump into the matchup here between BMAC and myself from last week. It was pretty close, honestly. So going into the Week 17 here, I have a 9-point lead going into Week 18, and so it was 10, and then they took a point away from the Lions, apparently a sack, so they want to see me lose, JK. But yeah, looking at the matchup here, pretty much it was Derrick Henry. Quietly all year, Derrick Henry, he's number 7 now, but, he's been pretty quiet pretty much all year for the most part. I mean, 10, 11, 13, 20, 22, 45. So when it matters most, he shows up. And he has his career high in carries of 36, with 216 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Whew. That is actually insane. Good for him, and that got me a little bit scared here a little bit because that was it. Everybody else, I mean, very underwhelming performances. But then again, Javonte was out as well. And Kyle Pitts. You never trust Kyle Pitts in the playoffs, right? But yeah, um, TLaw is having a great season so far, a great end of the season. He is picking it up. Um, 23. He had 23 fantasy points last week. He had let's see. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns, which I was watching them happen, and it was killing me to see that. It's just like a stab in the heart. But he didn't. Did he not throw any touchdown passes? No, I guess he didn't. I guess he didn't throw any touchdown passes, but he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, so that already was 12 points right there. So, um, right off the bat. So Trevor, definitely like helped his performance there, but yeah, it was definitely all Derrick Henry, and when it matters most, he shows up. So, uh, very good to see that. But everybody else, very very underwhelming for the most part. Um, granted with no Javonte and everything, having 0. Jameson, with only 5, and uh, it was definitely underwhelming. But it's you know what? It was enough because BMAC is in striking distance here with only a 9-point deficit, so it is still anyone's. And then over on my side here, great, having no Kittle in. Ton just stepped up, 19 points, great fill-in for Kittle there. He had a touchdown. That was a crazy game against Chicago, 42-38. That is nuts, very intense. It was a great game. It was like 21-21 at like halftime. I was like, what the heck? Purdy and I would say Purdy and TLaw right now are probably like 2 of the best QBs playing as far as fantasy production. I mean, like Purdy had back-to-back 30-point fantasy games, 26. So this is definitely the 2 QBs you want right now in your fantasy playoffs, championship. But little, Nico Collins and James Cook, with 8.7, not ideal. And Juwan Jennings kind of got that bailout 45-yard touchdown, at the end of the game. So that really kind of saved his fantasy production. But it was very much a McCaffrey, Tonjits, and honestly Pearsall game. Pearsall was getting a lot of targets, so Jennings got saved there for sure. But yeah, overall though it was, and then Dicker was definitely a little bit concerning for Dicker because he missed, like, he was 1 for 2 for his field goals and then extra points as well. So he missed 1 field goal, 1 extra point. So bad performance from Dicker the kicker, but. Overall, it was, a much needed performance from Purdy, Tonjins, and Jennings. I was down by like 50 something or whatever with them 3 left, and so it was definitely much needed because that Derrick Henry 45-point game was a killer one. So yeah. So BMAC, it was a great week 17, and now let us move on to our week 18 look ahead. Let's see here. So they have me listed here as 51-49, so it's 50-50. I'm just going to say it's 50-50. This is how we want to have it, man. This is it. This is a battle. Winner here takes all. I'm super excited. And let's take a look at who we got going on. And I posted this today because we didn't have any Thursday matchups, and a lot of the injury reports are going to come out today. We have, I think, 2 games Saturday, and then the rest are Sunday. So no Monday night games. So we will find out who the champ is on Sunday, which is really good to see. So looking over at BMAC, obviously TLaw, we got Gibbs. Fantasy playoff Gibbs is not performing up to par here. He had the 6.4, and so Lions with nothing to play for. I'm sure they'll just play, just ball out. Um, got Javonte coming back, and Jameson Williams as well. So that's definitely gonna be a big boost to his wide receiver core. It looks like Harold Fannin was just recently ruled out for the Browns, which obviously really concerning. With him the year he's having, so we're gonna. Looks like BMAC's trusting in Kyle Pitts again, so in Kyle Pitts we trust. And he also picked up Parker Washington, who honestly has had a really good last two games, 10 targets each, and the way TLaw slinging the ball, man, whew, that makes sense. So he hopes to have that TLaw Parker Washington touchdown connection. Pretty good flex play. For sure, this 145 yards, 150 yards. That's against Denver too, and the Colts. So now you're going against Tennessee. Who knows? And so with T-Law slinging that ball the way he is, who knows who's going to get the benefactor? Like, it could be a Jacoby Myers day, it could be a BTJ, it could be Parker Washington. I think of more Parker Washington as like more of a deep threat. I think Jacoby and BTJ are definitely the main two, but it's one of those things where Parker Washington, he could be he's either picking it up now or he's a boom bust. We're not really sure. He hasn't really come along, just until recent. He's had some games, like I said, boom bust kind of guy. So, but this is the right time you want to play a Jaguar for sure. So going up against the worst defense probably in the league. So should be fun. And then this is divisional matchup game. We love the Derrick Henry Steelers versus Ravens. Does Derrick Henry have 4 touchdowns again? I mean, they're saying T.J. Watt might come back. So that would be pretty interesting to see what how that will affect Derrick Henry. But I mean, listen, this is divisions on the line. They have Lamar coming back, I think, too. So that's definitely just going to be a big boost to Derrick Henry. With a lot of options. Now, granted, I mean, because Snoop Huntley was QB last game, they might not lean on the run too much because you have Lamar who will use his legs and things like that. So, we'll kind of see. I don't think he replicates his performance from last week, but listen, you never know. And then you got the Broncos defense, very good defense to pick up against the Chargers, who are starting Trey Lance. So that should be a field day for that team. Yeah. And let's see if Jameson against Chicago, that should be a shootout too. I mean, Detroit's not playing for anything, so we'll see what happens. But I like the starts, BMAC, and we'll see what happens. And then over on my side here, we got another divisional game here. We got the number 1 seed. We got the 49ers here. So with my Purdy, Jennings, and Kittle will be coming back this week. They're saying he's listed as questionable, but the GM and himself were saying he's absolutely ready to play. So he will definitely play, and that's going to be a big help to me. Granted, if he didn't, we have Tonjans, but I will gladly take Kittle. And then we have James Cook going up against the Jets. Jonathan Taylor against Houston, definitely regressed that a little bit. I mean, Colts have really nothing to play for, and they're starting Riley Leonard this week. So I don't know if Taylor has too much of a big game, but maybe they'll lean on the run, but not against that Houston defense. So rough matchup there. Roma Dunze was ruled out this week. Man, that hurts a little bit because it makes me look back at that trade I did with Corey a little bit. But so I have picked up. I did a lot of waiver wire pickups this week. I did Audric Estime, Dylan Sampson, So I did put in Audric Estime for now. Um, he's going to be the lead back for sure with Kamara out, Devin Neal out, Taysom Hill not a factor. So, we have him in for now. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll see some news change and see who we could run in as a flex. But the Saints have been won the last like 4 games. Tyler Shuck is now in the running for Rookie of the Year. It's actually kind of nuts over Tet. So could be a good play. We'll see. And Vikings defense against Green Bay, who is starting Clayton Tune. They're resting all their starters. So yeah, so that is the matchup for this week. So B-Mac, best of luck to you, man. And it's been an honor and a privilege. We've been battling out all season trying to get that one spot, and I'm glad it's come down to this. So best of luck. And we'll scoreboard watch a little bit here for our third place matchup. We have Corey and Dan, and Corey's got a 4-point lead over Dan for the third place matchup. And then our consolation bracket here. Take a look at the scores here. So, yeah. So, with that said, I would like to do a special of awards for players for the year. Do probably something with like all of our teams next week when I do our recap episode. But I think we have some awards to give to players for sure. Going first, I would say our comeback player of the year is by far Christian McCaffrey. And actually, I might as well just go to the team that has him. Comeback meaning, he was injured last year and came back. By far, Christian McCaffrey. There is no doubt about it. I mean, and he's played a full season, and the lowest he's had is 9.8. I mean, it's truly incredible. To come back, play a full season with McCaffrey, that is not something you see these days. So I think comeback player of the year, definitely Christian McCaffrey for sure. He pretty much could win it every year because every other year he's going to get hurt probably. So I think that is a valid comeback player of the year. Now, if we look at our breakout player of the year, no doubt about it, it is going to be, and shout out Nick for this pick, definitely JSN. No doubt about it, our breakout player of the year is JSN. He is, based on where he was drafted, by far, just literally no one expected it. I mean, you figured you knew he was going to be number one, but then you have Darnold coming in. You're not comparing JSN to Justin Jefferson. You're not. So you figured, okay, and then you have Kupp coming in. They have the run game going with those two backs. It's like, is he really going to be the guy? And he stepped up as the guy, and he absolutely performed all year. He will definitely make his way as a top 10 pick next year, no doubt about it. So that's a shout out, Nick, for the breakout player of the year for JSN, for sure. I will give an honorable mention for the comeback player for the breakout player of the year, and that is Drake May. Drake May is balling, and this is probably going to be our MVP of the league after Stafford's horrific game. So Drake May, number 2 fantasy quarterback, definitely honorable mention for breakout player of the year. He had a decent rookie year, but then now having the full season at the helm at the realm, and he's taken the Patriots to to the playoffs again. So, and granted, I know they've had a pretty light, easy schedule, but it's not his fault. You just play who you get. And you know, uh, very, very great to see May. So I would say probably honorable mention, but I still give it to JSN. Waiver pickup of the year, and I know it's kind of late in the season for it, and this is why I regret probably doing this a little bit, but Michael Wilson. I mean, ever since he became wide receiver, uh, pretty much was the wide receiver one for the Cardinals with Marvin Harrison now, he has outperformed. Granted, a lot of it is game script because Cardinals are down a lot, but Jacoby Brissett's throwing the ball a lot. But I mean, week 11, that's when you start thinking playoff time. Look at that, 33, 21, 37, 16, 13, 19. I mean, he was pretty much a league winner. Nobody had him on the radar, with Marvin Harrison, and that could have been, if I had lost to Corey, that was easily my last minute worst trade I would have ever done. And who knows, it could have affected me today, because imagine I had Michael Wilson today. So yeah, I did have him too, but I figured with Rome, but that was just a big mistake by me. So let's hope it doesn't cost me. But yeah, I gotta say, waiver wire pickup of the year when it matters most, Michael Wilson, and I think he's gonna just be the number one wide receiver next year. He is phenomenal, great player. Look at that, in a matter of span of a few games, he's wide receiver 16. Like when all year he was 1, 1, 4, 8, 7. So absolutely the league, absolutely the waiver wire pickup of the year. Um, Definitely, I would say probably Michael Wilson. So yeah, so nice way to Corey. Great way to see that he still had the value. But yeah, for sure. Um, Now let's look at fantasy playoffs MVP. Well, that's gonna go between us two here, and I want to give it to TLaw. I think Trevor Lawrence right here, fantasy playoff MVP for sure, because what he is doing um, in the playoffs, for these Jaguars, pushing them through to win the AFC South or going to win the AFC South. 44 fantasy points, 31, 23, 19, 21. He is on a tear right now. I mean, you could even honestly look at Brock Purdy too. As another guy, starting from fantasy playoffs. Week 14 they had the bye, 15, 26, 30, and 36. So I mean, you really could give it to either one of those guys. But I just like Trevor Lawrence. Brock Purdy has done this before. T-Law, this is it. They're getting hot at the right time. I really want to give it to Trevor Lawrence for sure. And he's stepped up and he's become QB4 in fantasy. So good for T-Law. This is really good, and he's ascending up the echelon, the tiers of these QBs. So he's using his legs. He's seeing the field well, and they might have a chance to make some noise in that playoffs for sure. And their defense isn't bad. It's a good defense. So I give it to T-Law, very close, but T-Law or Brock Purdy for fantasy playoffs MVP. The best value draft pick for sure. This is a good one. The best value draft pick, in my opinion, is Javonte. Javonte Williams, being drafted in the 10th round, and became, running back 11 currently on the year. But because even in the beginning of the season, no one even knew who the starting running back was going to be for the Cowboys. Was it going to be Javonte? Was it going to be Jadon Blue? Was it, no one even no one even knew Miles Sanders was even in the mix. Like no one even knew, and he's had a um, very good pretty much a breakout year for him. Honestly, over 1,000 rushing yards. Um, that's great to see. He was coming in with the Broncos and that injury, so it's glad to see that a team had signed him and believed in him, and he's performed very, very well for the Cowboys. And yeah, I definitely pick at the value for sure. Give it to Javonte for sure. Offense of the year, just as a team overall, you got to give it to you have to give it to the Rams for sure. I mean, when you look, like when you look at the Rams offense here, starting with Stafford. Stafford here being at QB3. I mean, he's probably the number two. He obviously he's not going to win MVP now after last week's performance against Atlanta, but he's a runner up for MVP for sure. I mean, QB3, and then you have Puka here, who is wide receiver one. Puka's having a fantastic season. Like he had 46 and a half, point 0.5 fantasy points week 16. All year he's been solid. Only missed one game this year. Uh, Puka being wide receiver, and then you also have Devonte being um, wide receiver 8 this year. So they have two top 10 wide receivers. And then you go to the running back. Kyron is wide receiver 9. I mean, they have all of their offensive stars, their studs, are the ones fantasy relevant are top 10. So by far the Rams offense, produced some absolute studs. Uh, Offense of the year definitely will go to the Rams. And no wonder they are where they are now in real life. So got to give it to the Rams offense for offense of the year. Rookie of the year for fantasy. I say it's between two people, but give me Harold Fannin. Harold Fannin, tight end 5, just because of how like the position is. I mean, granted, he's in the beginning he was with Njoku kind of being the guy. They didn't really like switch to using Fannin. Once Fannin kind of came into mix, and then you had Shadur come in. Look at these, since week 13, balling 11, 25, 12, 19, 11. I mean, for how scarce the tight end position actually is, this by far will be someone would consider for Rookie of the Year. Another one, Dart. Jackson Dart, for sure. I mean, stepping in for, you probably could just give it to Dart right off rip, honestly. Dart, coming in, stepping in for Russell Wilson. People were like, Russell, yeah, I mean, ever since that game, I think it was week 3, was it Kansas City? I don't know when it was. I think it was the week 3 game where Russ was just chucking it up. It's like Neighbors is down there somewhere. I think they knew they had to make a change. Dart came in, and look at this. Balling. Even when they get blown out, he's still balling. I think just the way, losing Neighbors definitely was tough for them. So the fact that they had Wan'Dale Robinson was a 1,000-yard receiver at 5'8", being able to work with Scattaboo, I think based on the team around him, I truly think I give it to Dart. He's fantastic. The Giants have a great future ahead with him. And when Scat gets healthy again, then that's just look out. And they're gonna have a high draft pick this year, probably number one. So, question is, what do you go for in that case? Dart just has to stop putting his head first into everything, though. Keep that man healthy. I like the way he plays. I respect him too. Great player, and it wasn't that long till he really took over. I was always saying start him from the beginning, but it's fine. He took over when he did, and he's done very well. So, yeah, you know what? I think I give it to Dart. I think I give it to Dart as our rookie, fantasy rookie. Stack of the year. So when you have like a QB, running back, QB, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back, tight end of the same team. So two players from the same team, easily, Puka and Stafford. I mean, number 3 and number 1 respectively. Um, you know, that's kind of gross. Almost at one point, Stafford was, I think, at one point number 2 or number 1. So the fact that I think they were both number 1 at the time, can't get any better than that. So I say Stafford and Puka are definitely the best stack of the fantasy season. And then just give it to me. So the next one we'll give is the fallout of the year. Probably the one that needs to be studied a little bit, as they say. I'm gonna say a Mecca. I mean, a Mecca after 5 weeks was just not relevant. You could very well say the same thing about Rome, but at least Rome had a game or two here or there, like maybe like 2 games, 3 games afterwards where he did pop off. But Ibuka, though, like you saw in the beginning of the season, where this guy was the wide receiver 1 of the team. Granted, yeah, they didn't have Evans, and then Godwin. They really didn't have Godwin for a few weeks, so he was the guy. But you would think that the way the success that the Buccaneers had at the beginning of the season was flowing through Emeka. You think that with Godwin coming back, they would have, at first with Godwin coming back, they would still find a way to implement Egbuka into the offense, and I don't know what happened. I mean, he just didn't. He just fell off. I mean, he was getting the targets, but just wasn't making the grabs. So, I mean, granted, was it all his fault? No, but maybe he dropped some open ones. We don't know. But yeah, he was heavily favored in the beginning of the season as rookie of the year, for sure. But yeah, little underwhelming performance from Egbuka, in my opinion, for the season. Granted, it was a solid, being drafted in the 10th round, for the first 5 weeks you were like, oh man, this is probably the best pick ever. But yeah, and now with Evans healthy and Godwin healthy and Bucky healthy, it's he's pretty much down the totem pole now. So, like I said, a lot of it could have been because with Evans out, Godwin out, and Bucky out at the time. Actually, Bucky was there, but then he got hurt. He was the guy. But so yeah, I would say Emeka, Egbuka, honorable mention Rome Odunze. If we look at Rome, for sure. Rome here, same way. First 4 weeks, 15, 31, 15, 16, and then drop. But then he had a couple games, 18, 20. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, these two guys, what happened. But especially, I'm probably more surprised more at Rome than anything, just because with Ben Johnson and then Caleb throwing the ball the way he is. So, yeah, probably these two guys will be my picks for the fallout of the year. But if I really had to pick one, I think I give it to Egbuka, just because, they Baker, I know Baker likes to sling that ball, but you don't have Ben Johnson on the other hand, so they just, and they had more of a better run game. I would take Bucky over DeAndre Swift all day. Yeah, I give it to Ibuka there. So unfortunate that happened because you figured he was going to end up having a good year, but things happen. That's fantasy life. And then our obvious candidate, no matter what, for our fantasy MVP, give it to CMC. I mean, what can you say? When CMC is fully healthy, he is the best fantasy player on earth. I will say that. I will honor that statement. He is. He just truly is. So, I love that Vinny took that chance. Imagine, I'm sure right now, can you imagine, a lot of us with the players that we've picked? Can you imagine, with me having Jonathan Taylor, if I had picked Jonathan Taylor and CMC? Or BMAC with Gibbs and CMC. Dan with Bijan and CMC. Just think of just think, I'm going to be honest with you. No one's still going to touch it with a 10-foot pole next draft. But someone may take that chance. And it's a risk you take. It really is a risk you take. But, I mean, he got him at a great value. His ADP was at like 8. So he literally got him at his value. Or way, second round. So, he's going to be one going forward because of his workload, his age. He's going to be a risky play. He's going to be a risky pick. But he was actually able to maintain health this whole year, which is truly crazy to me. You don't ever see that, but if he does, this is your reward. I mean, that's one thing I'll talk about next week in the episode when I go through the team recaps for each of us. That's why I originally had Vinny's team very high because I figured with him and Saquon, that's a pretty nasty duo there. That's fantasy life. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying it. So definitely Christian McCaffrey, fantasy MVP. Congrats to CMC. And yeah. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode for Week 18. So kind of gave my awards. So let me know in the comments, or you could even put in our group chat who you think your awards are for, and let me know your thoughts on that. And I'm going to give you my picks, who I think is going from AFC and the NFC to the chip. The AFC, you're going to give me the Houston Texans, man, all day. NFC, 49ers. I just think that, that AFC, that Houston defense is the real thing. And I just think that, CJ Stroud, with the mediocre, he's a decent offense, man. You got Nico, Woody Marks is fantastic. Jaden Higgins. They got a lot of nice rookie wide receivers. I think CJ will find his stride, and as long as that defense keeps playing at an elite level, you can have a mediocre offense. It's all that matters. Defense wins championships, right? So give me Houston, even though they're going to be probably a wild card team. And then the NFC, the 49ers. I mean, the way the 49ers are looking right now, that's a really good team right now. That's a really good team. Yeah, I just think that Sam Darnold he's been struggling lately. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't see the Seahawks going too far. Eagles are definitely gonna fold in the playoffs, no doubt about it. I mean, they almost at first were struggling to the Commanders to even beat them. So I just think the Eagles are not going to go far at all. Probably could be first round exits. So, and then I know there's a lot of good teams at NFC, and then as for the AFC, I mean like Patriots. I mean this is going to be Drake May's first time. I just think with their schedule was so easy. Like they're going up against a legit team now. Whoever they go up against, I don't see it. So, um, and yeah, maybe Jaguars. Jaguars, if they play like they are now, that would be a great matchup, Jaguars and Texans. But yeah, give me Houston and give me 49ers. Let me know in the comments as well who you guys think are going to go to the Super Bowl. And yeah, so well, it's been a fun 18 weeks of doing this, guys. We're gonna have one more episode next week. It's going to be to recap the winner of the championship, and then do like we'll go through like each team and like who was the sleeper team, the best team, all the like team awards we'll give for everyone. So I think that'll be kind of fun. And then that'll be the end of our fantasy season for sure. And we'll close it out with the bang. So it's been so much fun doing this though, and I'm excited to do it next year, and as well as add on our sleeper league as well for those of us in our dynasty league. I will be doing this next year as well, so that should be a lot of fun. It'll probably be like 2 separate videos I'll post for that. So yeah, so it should be a lot of fun, and we'll get some more guests, and maybe we'll have a permanent guest. Maybe we'll just keep doing special guests. We'll kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. But yeah. So on that note, Happy New Year, everyone. BMAC, I want to wish you the best of luck this weekend. And whoever, if I lose, then it's been an honor. Facing you, it's privilege. And I hope I don't lose, but we'll see what happens. Should be a good one. All right, everyone. Happy New Year again, and I hope everyone's 2026 is fantastic. But Kenny's Corner, peacing out.